Most gardeners give up on fresh greens the moment the first hard frost hits. But one raised bed just survived a night at 17 to 18 degrees Fahrenheit, well below freezing. And the leafy greens inside it didn't just survive, they kept growing. No greenhouse, no heating, just a hinged wood and PVC frame with a sheet of plastic stretched over the top, built almost entirely from hardware store parts. This video breaks down exactly how that hinged hoop house is built. The frame, the math behind the hoops, how the plastic gets pulled drum tight, and how the whole thing hinges open in seconds. Stick around, because near the end there's a detail about why this design fails in one specific kind of backyard. And it's worth knowing before anyone builds one. Here's the problem most raised bed growers run into. Once nighttime temperatures drop, unprotected plants die back fast. The usual fixes are frost cloth or a pre-built mini greenhouse kit. Frost cloth barely holds against a hard freeze, and most kit greenhouses are oversized for a single bed and can't be cracked open in seconds to vent on a warm afternoon or to reach in and harvest. A hinged hoop house solves both problems at once. It's built directly onto the bed's own frame, it opens on a hinge like a lid, and when it's closed, it holds enough heat to keep greens alive through nights well below freezing. As already proven on the very bed shown here, the frame starts with 2x4s laid flat on top of the raised bed, matched to its exact length and width. Those boards double as a place to sit or lean while working, and they become the base the whole structure hinges from. One detail matters more than any other here. The hinge always goes on the long side of the frame, never the short end. Put it on the short end, and the constant leverage of opening and closing will slowly twist that side out of shape. Now for the parts list. And this is where most people underestimate the job. The build needs several 2x4s for the frame, PVC pipe for the hoops, half-inch end caps, 3/4-inch and half-inch T-fittings, short PVC crossbars, 6mm greenhouse-grade plastic sheeting, furring strips to clamp the plastic down, deck screws in a few different lengths, a hinge, and a small handle. That's the full list. Nothing exotic, all standard hardware store stock. The hoop length isn't guesswork. It's a calculation. Take the distance between the two end caps, cut it in half to get the radius, then multiply by 3.14 to get the length of a perfect half circle. In this case, the end caps sat 45 inches apart, giving a radius of 22.5 inches and a calculated arc length of just over 70 inches. 2 inches get trimmed off that number on purpose, landing at 68 inches per hoop. Enough slack to leave room for a second layer later, without which two plastic layers would rub against each other. Assembly starts with the frame itself, and this step decides more than it looks like it should. Get the corners even a little off here, and every hoop, brace, and sheet of plastic built on top of it inherits that mistake. The two long side boards get cut to the bed's full length, the two short end boards cut to match, then all four screwed together at the corners with pre-drilled holes and 3.5-inch deck screws, 2 per joint. Slightly warped boards get pressed flat while driving the screws to pull the twist out. Next, the half-inch end caps go on, pre-drilled and fastened with a 1.25-inch screw driven from the inside corner. Deliberately on the inside, not the outside, because the outside edge needs to stay clear for a future second hoop layer. With the caps on, the 368-inch hoops go in. The first hoop gets pressed into the end caps, using body weight from above to seat it fully. T-fittings slide onto the hoops next, 3/4-inch ones on the outer two hoops, half-inch ones on the center hoop, since that middle hoop carries no cross braces. The second hoop goes in at the opposite end, while the frame is held down to keep it from sliding, and the third hoop sits at the midpoint. 3 cross braces tie the hoops together, 1 along the ridge, 2 down the sides, each cut slightly long so it wedges snugly into the T-fittings. Too short, and the brace pulls the hoop inward. Too long, and it bows the hoop outward. Either mistake throws off the whole shape. Each brace gets centered by eye, pre-drilled, and pinned with a short screw. Except at the very ends. where the braces get taped together with weatherproof electrical tape instead of screwed, so no screw tip pokes through the plastic later. Furring strips get cut to fit both long sides, set tight against the frame to leave clearance for a possible second layer down the road. Worth noting, prolonged contact between plastic film and bare PVC can degrade the film faster than normal weathering, so a strip of felt or tape at each contact point adds extra service life. This next part is where most first-time builds actually go wrong. Then comes the plastic, a full sheet of 6mm greenhouse film, folded and cut to size, draped over the frame with enough overhang to pull tight. Spring clips hold it roughly in place while it's being worked. One long side gets stapled down first with the furring strip and 1.25-inch screws. The other side gets pulled as tight as physically possible before it's fastened the same way, working end to end so the tension stays even the whole length. Skip that tension step, rush it, or leave any slack in the sheet, and the whole structure's winter performance quietly falls apart. That tension is not cosmetic. A loose sheet sags, pools water, and eventually collects snow weight it was never built to hold. Both short ends get trimmed and capped with furring strips the same way, and any excess plastic gets cut away clean. Last step, the hinge goes on the long side with the continuous 2x4, and a small stainless handle gets centered on the lid so the whole thing lifts open with one hand. Here's where it gets interesting. Once finished, this design can be built as a double layer, a second slightly larger hoop shell built outside the first, with an air gap between the two plastic layers acting as extra insulation. That's the version already tested through real winter nights at 17 to 18 degrees Fahrenheit, with the greens inside coming through untouched. On mild days, a metal hook and wire loop let the outer layer prop open partway to vent heat buildup, and that same hook keeps a sudden gust from ripping the lid off when it's cracked open. But here's the catch nobody mentions when they show off a finished hoop house. This whole design assumes a reasonably sheltered yard. In a location that's genuinely wind-exposed, open, gusty, nothing blocking it, this hinged, propped open design starts working against itself, and the same wind that a sheltered yard barely notices can turn into real structural stress here. So if it's this simple and this cheap, why isn't every raised bed running one instead of a boxed greenhouse kit? It's not performance. This holds up against the same frost a kit is built for, and it opens on a hinge in a way most kits don't. The real answer is shelf logic. A pre-built mini greenhouse is sold as one product, sitting on one shelf, ready to grab. The parts for a hoop house, PVC pipe, T-fittings, greenhouse film, are scattered across different aisles or stores, so a project that's actually simpler ends up looking more complicated. That's the whole gap. Not cost, not durability, just how the parts happen to be shelved, even though the raw material cost typically comes in under a comparable pre-built kit. And the payoff isn't limited to a single layer, because the inner hoop is deliberately built a couple of inches short of a perfect half circle. There's built-in clearance to add that second outer shell whenever it's convenient. No need to rebuild the frame from scratch. That second layer is what turns a basic frost shield into a structure that held greens alive through a night in the high teens, still growing the next morning. A raised bed, a few lengths of PVC, one roll of greenhouse film, and a garden that's still producing fresh greens in weather that would kill it outright, weeks before spring even shows up. What would go in this bed first?